New Hollywood movement of the 1960s and 70s bred a generation of young, film school-educated directors, dubbed the movie brats. Their counterculture films broke the rules of classical Hollywood and adopted techniques influenced by European art cinema. The New Hollywood movement emphasized the artistic value of film and realism, as seen in faster editing, shooting on location, and natural acting. One of New Hollywood's finest and quirkiest directors is Alan Stewart Konigsberg, better known as Woody Allen. He's been making films since the 1970s, mainly in genres such as drama, romance, and comedy. His interest in the artistic value of film is undoubted, best seen in his greatest love letter to New York, Manhattan. It was shot in black and white and a 2.35:1 aspect ratio. However, Allen's deepest concerns are more self-reflexive. He expresses his inner thoughts and emotions through his protagonists. Until recently, most of his main characters were reflections of himself, and often played by Allen himself.
I've seen it all before. They try to document their private suffering and fob it off as art.
If nothing lasts, why am I bothering to make films or do anything for that matter?
You know, I think I'm going to be the balding, virile type, you know, as opposed to, say, the distinguished gray, for instance, you know.
Woody Allen masterfully combines art and reality, avoiding classical Hollywood's cause and effect chains with goal-driven protagonists. Instead, he focuses on character-driven stories, utilizing film style to create relatable characters we empathize with. Midnight in Paris, Woody Allen ignored conventional cause and effect chains. Protagonist, Gil Pender, is transported by a mysterious Peugeot to 1920s Paris, inhabited by Ernest Hemingway, Salvador Dali, and Pablo Picasso. No explanation is given for this convenient escape from Gil's unsympathetic fiancée and her pseudo-intellectual friend.
Hey! Come on! What?
Gil's nightly escapes are the basis for the film, mystically depicted by Allen's use of mise-en-scène. Characters' manner of speech.
Dali. See?
Yes,
Dali.
I remember.
Dali. Yeah.
I really thought about it.
I paint the rhinoceros. I paint you. See, it's Senor Buñuel.
Buñuel.
See, Buñuel, Mr. Manry.
Man, right? My gosh.
Hello. This is Pender. Pender.
This is...
Pender.
Yes.
And I am Dali.
Dali.
From the 2000th millennium to here, I get in a car and I slide through time.
Exactly correct. You inhabit two worlds. So far, I see nothing strange.
Well, yeah, you're surrealist.
Dressing and surroundings are accurate of the time, be it modern, 1920s, or even 1890s Paris. Minute attention was given to faithful representations of famous figures, down to their interpersonal relationships.
Scott Fitzgerald. And who are you, old sport?
Gil. The same names as...
As what?
You know, Scott Fitzgerald and...
Scott and Zelda Fitzgerald, the Fitzgeralds. Isn't she beautiful?
Yes.
Gil has an epiphany in 1890s Paris when his love interest, Picasso's lover Adriana, asks him to remain in the past with her.
Surely you don't think the 20s are a golden age?
Yeah, to me they are.
I'm from 2010.
What do you mean?
I dropped in on you the same way we're dropping in on the 1890s. You know, they'd trade Belle Epoque to be painting alongside Titian and Michelangelo. And those guys probably imagined life was a lot better when Kubla Khan was around. I'm having an insight now. It's a minor one, but it explains the anxiety, my dream that I had.
The sense of realism heightens the understanding we feel for Gil. 1920s and modern Paris are equally tangible and real to both characters and us. The lesson that the grass isn't always greener on the other side or the older world is something that is identified with universally. The grass isn't any greener in Spain, the setting of Vicky Cristina Barcelona. This tale of two contrasting best friends and their escapades with a troubled Spanish artist and his deranged ex-wife is a clear example of Alan's fondness for warm colour palettes. His friend Nick Viss, cinematographer for Alan's 1989 film Crimes and Misdemeanors, was once quoted exclaiming, "Their faces will all look like tomatoes." Woody Allen does this as he's called cool colours off-putting, and uses warm colours in lighting, mise-en-scène, and colour grading to make his films more relatable. Warm colours are also used to reflect characters' emotions and provoke a response in the viewer. Vicky Cristina Barcelona, scenes of passion and lust between Cristina and Juan Antonio are blown out in red. Colours are also used in this scene, where Juan and his ex-wife, Maria Elena, argue following her suicide attempt. The warmth of the scene reflects anger, but also an underlying sexual tension between the two. Warm colours are also used in the wardrobe of Annie Hall. Woody Allen's breakthrough film, Annie is depicted in her now iconic menswear, often in earthy and warm tones. This reflects her character's lively and spontaneous personality, something which main protagonist, Elvie Singer, is attracted to. Annie Hall is an example where Allen breaks the new Hollywood movement's rule of realism, editing together cartoons, subtitles, and visual effects in order to make his characters relatable. Woody Allen brings us closer to his characters by breaking the fourth wall.
There's an old joke. Two elderly women are at a Catskill Mountain resort, and one of them says, "Boy, the food at this place is really terrible." The other one says, "Yeah, I know, and such small portions." Well, that's essentially how I feel about life.
In the opening scene, Elvie speaks to the camera directly, summarizing his views on life through humor. He then narrates his childhood life to the audience.
My analyst says I exaggerate my childhood memories, but I swear I was brought up underneath the roller coaster in the Coney Island section of Brooklyn. Maybe that accounts for my personality, which is a little nervous, I think. I remember the staff at our public school. You know, we had a saying that those who can't do, teach, and those who can't teach, teach Jim. And Ivan Ackerman, always the wrong answer, always.
7 and 3 is 9. He kissed me!
That's the second time this month.
His adult self then appears in his old classroom to defend himself as a 6-year-old.
I did.
For God's sake, Alvie, even Freud speaks of a latency period.
Well, I never had a latency period. I can't help it.
By directly engaging the audience in analysing his upbringing and search for the reason Annie and him broke up.
Annie and I broke up, and I still can't get my mind around that. You know, I keep sifting the pieces.
Viewers gain a deeper understanding of Elvie and his personality.
Leading from one to the
Screaming his opinions in my
You
ear.
understand what I'm talking about? Like all that Juliet of the Spirits or Satyricon. I found it incredibly indulgent.
Wall breaking is also used in this scene. While Annie and Elvie wait for a movie, the already tense situation is escalated by an opinionated patron behind them.
Granted, La Strada was a great film. Great in its use of negative imagery more than anything else. But that's...
He then complains to Annie, then directly at the camera.
On a movie line with a guy like this behind you.
And the noisy man steps forward to argue his case as well.
He can give you. You have to give it so loud. I mean, aren't you ashamed to pontificate like that? And the funny part of it is, Marshall McLuhan, you don't know anything about Marshall McLuhan's work.
Marshall McLuhan then suddenly appears to rebuke the patron.
How you ever got to teach a course in anything is totally amazing.
This is all summed up in Elvie's last line.
Boy, if life were only like this.
The fourth wall removes the barrier between Elvie and us, and invites the audience to support him against a common enemy. His sentiment reflects a universal desire to be justified, something which endears him to us. A new creative choice Allen makes is in this scene, where Elvie and Annie speak properly for the first time. Instead of the subtitles reflecting what they're saying, they show their inner, unfiltered thoughts, giving us an intimate insight into both characters' idiosyncrasies and insecurities.
When my mother took me to see Snow White, everyone fell in love with Snow White. I immediately fell for the Wicked Queen.
We never have any fun anymore.
How can you...
Ellen even uses a humorous cartoon interlude to encapsulate LV and Annie's frequent arguments about self-improvement.
I don't get a period. I'm a cartoon character. Can't I be upset once in a while?
Max.
Finally, special effects are used in this scene. After LV asks Annie not to take her customary hit of weed before sex, Annie's spirit literally leaves her body and carries on a conversation with LV.
Alvy, do you remember where I put my drawing pad? Because while you two are doing that, I think I'm going to do some drawing.
You see, that's what I call removed.
Oh, you have my body.
LV then ends up disagreeing with both Annie's spirit and Annie's body. This is both humorous and revealing about Annie's character. LV is a kind of everyman, and the film style used makes him all the more engaging. Mise-en-scène, colour, and editing are just some of the ways Woody Allen has played with art and reality. It is impossible to generalize Allen's impressive variety of films, but all his films are deeply interested in his characters. Woody Allen successfully uses film style in creating empathy for his characters, making audiences feel closer and more immersed in his films.
You hear these strange stories, you know, like there's this pill these women take, or sometimes the guys will slam their heads up against a wall of hard rubber.
Oh, that's nonsense.
Here, what if it's a homosexual encounter?
Look, this is no time to doubt our mission. You took an oath when you entered sperm training school to fertilize an ovum or die trying.
No, I'm scared. I don't want to go out there.
Sometimes I wonder where my classmates are today.
I'm president of the Pincus Plumbing Company. I sell taluses. I used to be a heroin addict. Now I'm a methadone addict. I'm into leather.